Hello, beautiful people. Today is 6th of September. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Friends, today in GS folder, we'll take a statement from the writings of the Aristotle. Now, Aristotle has written extensively about ethics into his book Nicomachean Ethics. There he had written that what is the reason for the human actions, and he had given the 7 causes for the human action. He says all human actions have one or more of these 7 causes, that is chance, nature, compulsion, habit, reason, passion and desire. Now guys, into our ethics GS paper number 4, the first topics is ethics and human interface, where the humans actions have been talked about. So there if a question comes, you can utilize this particular quote in GS paper number 4. So that's it friends, and now let's take the newspaper analysis.
Now, guys, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper first. Now, guys, onto the first page, you can see that the news respect to the COVID has been given here. As we had discussed yesterday, that onto the SCU meet, the defense minister has went to the Russia. So, guys, here certain declarations have been made where the defense minister has said that the border actions are violating the bilateral agreements between the India and China had also affirmed that not even a single inch of territory of China India can claim. So guys, nothing good thing is coming out of this particular aspect. Then guys, the ad not important for our exam. Then guys, here we can see that certain bird species have been mentioned. So guys, we'll see the IUCN status of these bird species and we'll just see that how they can be come into the exam. Then guys, other news not important for our exam. Then guys, a classified page not important. Now here we can see a reference neighbor katta, where the people or the children they are meeting at a spot and are discussing their assignment homework with maintaining the physical and social distancing. So guys, just a one liner concept you can utilize. Then guys, moving forward, here we can see that the tribal cooperatives have been mentioned, so we'll see how we can utilize it into the exam. Then guys, ease of doing has been mentioned, the domestic ease of doing business index. Then moving forward, here we can see that the relations of US and Russia with the India has been mentioned by the CDS. So guys, certain keywords has been given which you can utilize into our answers. Then moving forward, guys, here we can see that the bill back to village program has been mentioned of J&K, and we'll see how we'll utilize it as a case study. Then guys, on to the world page, the US elections are going on, not nothing important has been given. Then guys, the science and tech page today, as a Sunday there will be no editorial. Now guys, as I have told you that research in respect to the COVID-19 which is going on, you don't need to go into that particular thing because they are highly prone to change. So guys, please don't look into that particular thing. Now guys, a single person spread COVID to 23 people, not important here. However, we can see that a model as how South Africa led to the drought into the Asia has been given, so that respect we'll see this thing. Then guys, here the 13th amendment has been mentioned, we'll see this thing. Then guys, it talks about the GST compensation into the last week. I think 3 4 times we had already discussed this particular articles. How why was a new group of tennis player formed, not important for our exam, again the COVID news. Then guys, here we can see that the ICC versus USA controversy has been given, we'll see this thing. Then guys, the poisoning of the Alexei Navalny, not important for our exam. So guys, that's all about today's paper, and now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail.
Now guys, taking up the first news. So here you can see that certain bird species have been mentioned onto the page number 2 of the Delhi edition. Now guys, you might be knowing that every year 1 or 2 questions from the into the ecology section in prelims are coming with respect to the status of certain species which are there into the Hindu newspaper. Now, there are large number of bird species, for example, wire-tailed swallow, laughing dove, kingfisher, shikra, grey hornbill, sunbird, swallowtail butterfly, green bee eaters. Then there is a black knight, red pied bush chat, cockle, peacock, Eurasian hoppo, and manna. Now, these are so many of the birds, but one good thing is that on IUCN red list, all have been marked as the least concerned. So guys, just go through these names. I will provide into the infographics, and all of them have the LC status. So guys, just that's all about this particular news item. And now we'll move to the next news. Now friends, here a case study has been given where the tribal people has formed the labor cooperatives to help each other. Now this could be an excellent case study which you can utilize into the GS paper number 2 into the community resources. Now friends, first of all, what has happened here? Now the labor cooperatives have been formed where the community members, they come together to help their fellow members so that the wages cost can be reduced and into a dignified way the help can be given. Now guys, these labor cooperatives, there is the Shahabati system which is followed by the Dongriya Kond tribes. Now first of all, Dongriya Kond tribes, they belong to the particularly vulnerable tribal groups. All over India, there are 75 particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Among them, one is the Dongriya Kond tribe. They live into the Odisha. And in fact, Odisha is the state which have the largest number of the PVTG tribes in India. So one fact for prelims, please keep in your mind. Now, under these Dongriya Kond tribe, they follow a Shahabati system. In Shahabati system, the members, they work on each other's field on to the alternative days so that the person can receive the help for any specific type of work which he is looking. Now guys, as we are talking about the labor cooperatives, there are the task and skill based labor cooperatives. For example, certain examples have been given here. Now there is the Dasibati labor cooperatives. These cooperatives are made up of the young unmarried girls and some kind of tedious task they do. For example, the weeding of the fields, the fencing of the field, the harvesting of the crops. Then there are the Dhangda Bati cooperatives also. These cooperatives are made up of the young boys and they particularly do some laborious kind of tasks. For example, felling of trees, carrying of the logs, etc. Then there are also the cooperatives of the elder male, elder female. So such kind of labor cooperatives have been made. You can give these two examples. Now guys, what are the other tribes which has been mentioned into this particular article? So there are large number of tribes, that is the Dongriya Kond tribe, the example which I have given you earlier. Then there are the Juang tribe, Lanjia Sora tribe, Didai tribe, Podi Bhuyan tribe and the Kand tribe. All of them are found into the Odisha and majority of these tribes, they make these kind of labor cooperatives. Now guys, we can put it as how community itself can pool up the resources for each other's help. So guys, that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now friends, this particular article talks about the ease of doing business. Now, just a few days back, if you remember, we had discussed one editorial where we have seen that ease of doing business index which was released by the World Bank in order to evaluate that how easy is in a country to start a business has now been discontinued or has been kept under a review because there have been large number of discrepancies into the report. So that is one thing. However, friends, in our country also, we have a kind of an indigenous version of the ease of doing business index. Now, there is the State Business Reform Action Plan. Under this business reform action plan, the states are evaluated on certain parameters. For example, the single window system, whether the state has established or not, the construction permits, how easy or how difficult they are, the land administration. Okay, so on these parameters in our country, we also gave the ease of doing business to the state government. Now, this particular index is formulated by the DPIIT, that is the Department for Promotion of Industries and Internal Trade, as well as by the World Bank. And on this parameter, the state of Andhra Pradesh has topped the ease of doing business. Now guys, basically this parameter is helpful because it instills a kind of a competitiveness into the states, and such kind of competitiveness instills a competitive federalism where state governments, in order to feature into the top of the list, deliberately themselves they take up the labor reforms, the land reforms, economic reforms and all such kind of things. So guys, Andhra Pradesh has here ranked first. Now as I was talking about the ease of doing business global report into the start, then guys, into the 2020 report, already India has been ranked at the 63rd place. However, as it has now been suspended, so the kind of the legitimacy of such ranks has also been questioned. But if a question comes onto the competitive federalism, you can well mention the ease of doing business, the indigenous one, where we see the implementation of the state business reform action plan. So guys, that's all about this particular news item, and now we'll move to the next. Now guys, here this particular news pertains to the statement which has been given by the chief of defense staff. Now, as we know that the tensions with the China are going on to the LAC, so guys, here certain keywords has been used which you can use directly into the questions related to the IR. First keyword which has been given here is the geo-economics. It has been said that right now the countries are being driven by the nation first policy. For example, in America you can see America first, in India you can see the Atmanirbharta Abhiyan. Then the other trend is that the geo-economics. Now, what is this geo-economics? So geo-economics is the study of countries' resources, that how those resources are helping the country to be placed onto the world economic map. Moreover guys, geoeconomics also pertains that how the use of economic tools can be made so that a nation's strategic interest can be advanced. You can see that the China has utilized their cheap manufacturing and they had placed themselves onto the map of a next superpower nation. So into the same ways, now countries are exploring their economic opportunities in order to make a imprint onto the world map. So guys, this is one thing. Then guys, it has been said that India shares a kind of an emerging relationship with the USA and the traditional relation with the Russia. So why these things are being said? Because in order to counter China, we are reflecting that we have the old as well as the new alliances, and we might use them also into the times to come. So guys, just that bits of information has been given here which you can utilize in writing your answer. However, you don't need to go with respect to the entire statement which has been given. So guys, that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now friends, this particular article pertains to the Back to Villages program which is going into the Jammu and Kashmir and can be utilized into the GS paper number 2 governance related questions. Now under this Back to Village program, the basically administration, the state and the district level administration is directly reaching to the blocks as well as a panchayat in order to solve the problems of the people, in order to provide them solutions for their grievances and all such kind of thing. Now, this particular Back to Village program, it is into the third phase, third time it is being conducted. Now, this particular program has 3 pillars. First is the Jan Sunwai, where the administration themselves go to the people and they hear to their grievances. Then the second is Adhikar Abhiyan, where the service delivery or the public service delivery is guaranteed to the citizens at their doorsteps. And the third is the Unnat Gram Abhiyan. Now the powers are being decentralized to the panchayats so that they can work effectively to give the better remedy to the citizens. So guys, in all these 3 pillars, this Back to Village program is based. Now into the last time this exercise was conducted, more than 4,000 gazetted officers, they visited each and every panchayat and listened to the people's problem, provided them the solutions and gave the enough of the powers. Now into this particular phase, the district commissioners as well as the SPs, they will be visiting all the panchayats into the Jammu and Kashmir. Now this particular exercise will build the confidence between the administration and the people, and such kind of thing is even very much important into the regions which are inflicted with hostilities. And guys, not only there, on to the pan India basis, such kind of exercise needed to be conducted so that the people at the grassroots can be empowered into a constructive way. So guys, that's all about this particular thing. You can well utilized into the GS paper number 2 governance related aspects. So that's all. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article pertains to a puzzle. So there is a very long puzzle where it has been said that the Sahara Desert, which we know right now, once upon a time it was a region which was filled with the lush vegetation. This was a green region. There was a time approximately 4000 to 5000 years back when suddenly the vegetation declined here and sudden dramatic climatic events happened into the region of the Southeast Asia. So there was a puzzle that how such kind of thing happened. So in that particular direction, it has been said that such puzzle has now been solved. Now guys, it has been said that what happened just 4000 to 5000 years back, the vegetation was lost into the Sahara region. Due to the vegetation loss, what happened? The dust intensity into the atmosphere increased, and as the dust increased, concentration of dust increased, such kind of influence was noted into the Indian Ocean also. Now guys, when the dust intensity will increase, it will reflect the incoming solar radiation, it will scatter the incoming solar radiation, and therefore the net solar radiation which is being received onto the earth, its intensity will go down. And when it will go down, what will happen? The evaporation which was occurring from the Indian Ocean, that evaporation's intensity will cut down, and when the intensity will cut down, obviously the rain patterns will disturb into this particular region. And therefore it has been said that for 1000 years there were reduced rains into the entire region of the Southeast Asia, and therefore there was a huge drought into the region. And because of this drought, there was huge disturbances into the civilizations, the patterns of the migration they changed, the people, their dietary patterns, everything was changed. And this was the time due to, when the Indus Valley civilization was also thriving. So it has been said that even the destruction of the Indus Valley civilization could also be due to this particular phenomena. Now a question comes that how these people got to know about this particular thing. So they had studied the stalagmites into certain of the caves into the Laos. Now first of all, stalagmites, these are the formations which are made onto the floor of a cave. Guys, there are two stalagmites, and there are the stalactites. Stalactites are onto the ceiling, whereas the stalagmites, they are onto the floor. So seeing their composition, seeing their mineral composition, it has been seen that they have been carried from the region of the Africa. So guys, in this particular direction, such kind of a mystery has been solved. Now direct question on this one particular thing is not that much probable, but certain of the implication based question, such kind of observation or such kind knowledge can help you. Because if you have seen into the past years in GS paper number 1, the questions even into the geography are not very much direct. Is it clear? So guys, in that particular direction it could be helpful. So that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now this particular article pertains to the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act, which is right now being referred into the news. First of all, guys, certain brief background. Just a few days back, the elections have occurred into the Sri Lanka. Now, in 2019 also there were the elections. Those elections were for the post of the president, where the Gotabaya Rajapaksa, he was elected as the president of the Sri Lanka. Now in 2020 August, the elections for the prime minister were held, and there the Mahinda Rajapaksa has been elected as the prime minister. These two are the brothers, and the Rajapaksa family is supposed to be the most powerful political family into the entire Sri Lanka. Now guys, two amendments acts are coming frequently into the news. One is the 19th Constitutional Amendment Act, and the second is the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act. First of all, discussing about the 19th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now, what has happened? In 2015, the 19th Constitutional Amendment Act was convened by the earlier government. By this particular Amendment Act, the power of the president were reduced, and the independence to various of the institutions, for example, the Election Commission, were given. Now, when the campaigning was being made by the Mahinda Rajapaksa, he said that when I will come to the power, I will do away with that particular thing. I will again restore the powers of the president, because it was said that because of such sharing of the powers, such decentralization of the powers, the problems have occurred into the Sri Lanka. So he talked about the consolidation, and on this promise even people elected him. So he is now bringing the 20th Constitutional Amendment Act, which will reverse the 19th Constitutional Amendment Act and again the power to the presidency president will be given. So this is one thing. Now coming to the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act, which is also being talked about. Now guys, 13th Constitutional Amendment Act was formed after the 1987 India-Sri Lanka Accord, or the Rajiv Jayawardene Accord. Now what happened here? First of all guys, into Sri Lanka, you need to understand there are two majority of people which are living, not actually majority but majority and minority. Now, the Sinhalese people into the Sri Lanka, they are into the majority, they follow the Buddhist religion. Then there are large number of Tamilians also, which has been taken to the Sri Lanka by the Britishers to work onto the plantations into Sri Lanka, and they are living there as the Tamilian minorities. Fine. Now, since the Sri Lanka got independence in 1948, after that, repeatedly it has been said that the Tamilians have not been given right into the Sri Lanka, and the Sinhalese, they commit atrocities onto them. Now guys, because of this particular thing, there were a large number of revolutionary groups which were formed into the Sri Lanka. For example, you might have heard the name of the Litte, that is the Liberation Tamil Tigers LM. They were fighting for the rights of the Tamilians. Because of this particular thing, a kind of a civil war was going into the Sri Lanka. Now guys, therefore, in 1987 an agreement was made where Indian government said that okay, we will be giving you the assistance in order to control the civil war, but Sri Lanka has to give a promise that they will give the powers, or they devolve the powers into the favors of the Tamilians also. And at that point of time, 13 Constitutional Amendment Act was promised. It was said that under the 13 Constitutional Amendment Act, the provincial councils will be made, and these provincial councils will be given the authority, will be given the autonomy, and into the interest of their province, their people, they can take certain actions. Is it clear? So a decentralization of power was being talked about. Now guys, there are two sections of people, as I told you. One are the ones who favor the Sinhalese, others are who are into the favor of the Tamilians. Both are unhappy with this 13th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now the Sinhalese, they say that a large decentralization has been given, enough of power has been given, whereas the Tamilians, they believe that nothing has been given, and because of their perception, both are unhappy with this particular thing. Now guys, since the 1987, actually the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act has not been fully implemented, and the kind of a baggage is being carried till now. Government had repeatedly said that we will implement 13th Constitutional Amendment Act. Rather, they had said that 13 plus we will introduce, even more decentralization will be given. Now guys, it has been said that now this is the time 13th Constitutional Amendment Act should be dropped. It is being said by the Sinhalese, though it has not been even fully implemented. So therefore it is coming again into the news. Now what is the stand of the government? Government has neither said that they will be doing away with it, nor they had said that they will actually fully be implementing it. So guys, there is still a kind of a gray zone with respect to the future of the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act, and this happens to be a even big irritant between the India and Sri Lanka relations, the implementation part. Is it clear guys? So guys, that's all about this particular news article. I hope you have understood it all, and now we'll move to the next article. Now friends, this article is with respect to the ICC issue which is going into the news. Now, what has happened? First of all, I will give you some background. The organization which is into the question is the International Criminal Court. This particular organization is headquartered at the Hague, Netherlands. Now guys, the ICC has a mandate that it can prosecute the individuals which are charged for the crimes such as the genocide, war crimes, crime against humanity, etc. The ICC was formed by the Rome Statute. There are 139 countries which signed the Rome Statute, and there are 123 which actually ratified the Rome Statute. That is, they made law into their country also to support the ICC. First of all, if we talk about India, India is not a signatory to the Rome Statute. Therefore, India is not a party to the ICC. So this is all about the ICC. Now what is the news? Now guys, the USA has slapped the sanctions against the officials of the ICC and had even froze the assets of the ICC's officials. So it has been said that this is the first time that a judicial organization which used to sanction people, it in itself it is being sanctioned by a country. Why first of all the USA has taken such step? Because guys, the ICC opened up an investigation against the USA. It was said that the time when the US as well as troops from various countries were into the Afghanistan, at that point of time they had committed the atrocities or war crime onto the people, such as the physical assault, sexual assault, rape, such kind of things has been committed. Now guys, in this particular direction, the CIA as well as the defense forces of the USA has been charged, and on that particular thing the matter is being opened up. And because of this particular thing, the retaliation has been made by the USA says that USA is not a party to the Rome Statute, and therefore the ICC doesn't have any power to take up the matters of the USA. Therefore such kind of action has been taken. Now guys, because of this particular thing, USA has been criticized by the countries such by the United Nations, European Union, countries such as the UK, France, etc. It has been said that such kind of action by the USA is not warranted. So guys, therefore the controversy between the ICC and the USA is going on. Now guys, this is the entire news. Now talking a little bit about the implication. First implication is that such kind of attitude by USA is not in interest of the cooperative multilateral order that is going on. Rule based order is not being facilitated by such kind of attitude. See, earlier also the USA has walked out from the UNESCO. USA had walked out from the Paris Climate Summit. The obligations under Paris they are not fulfilling. Then now repeatedly it has also warned that they will not even be withdrawing from the WTO. They are stopping the funding for the WHO. So it has been said that USA often talks that China is the unilateralist, but by such kind of things it is giving the equal competition to the China, and therefore the kind of when we ridicule China for their kind of authoritarian regime, such kind of thing will not hold any currency if USA will also do such kind of things. So therefore such action is not warranted. Now guys, as if you have paid the attention, I told you that India is not the signatory of the ICC. What could be the reason in this particular direction? Friends, first of all, India believes that ICC's scope is very much restricted. It deals only into the criminal cases, whereas the another body, that is the International Court of Justice, it deals with the civil as well as criminal cases. So we feel that we are more inclined towards the ICJ rather than the ICC. Moreover, it has also been said that ICC can also prosecute those countries or those people who are not even the signatory of the ICC, and such kind of expansive or such kind of power India believes that is arbitrary. Therefore India has not signed the ICC's Rome Statute. So guys, this is all about the ICC and the issue which is going on. Please keep it into your mind. A question into the GS paper number 2 can be asked on these lines. So guys, that's all about this particular article. I hope you have understood it, and now we'll go to the question section.
Friends, please pause the video and try to answer the question. Question number 1 is with respect to the drip irrigation. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. Question number 2 is with respect to the national parks. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. Question number 3 is with respect to the Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Question number 4 is with respect to the virtual US India 2020 summit. So guys, please read the statement and identify the correct code. So friends, that's it. And today being Sunday, there will be no mains question. So friends, that's all. I hope you are liking our discussion. Thank you so much.